My boss closed the blinds. Then he closed the door. He sat down across from me and wouldn't make eye contact. "Your sister called our main line today," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "She says you're mentally unstable and a risk to the company." My mouth opened. Nothing came out. The hum of the air vent above me sounded like it was screaming. And the worst part? I knew exactly why she did it. My name is Corinne. I'm 33 years old. I work as a senior operations analyst at a regional logistics company. It's not a glamorous title. Nobody's impressed at dinner parties. But I'm the person who keeps the systems running. When shipments go sideways, when data doesn't match, when a warehouse is bleeding money and nobody can figure out why, they call me. 6 years I've been at that company. 6 years of consistent, reliable, quietly essential work. I'm the younger of two sisters. My older sister, Tanya, was always the one on the pedestal, louder, more charismatic, more magnetic. She walked into a room and people gravitated toward her. I walked into a room and people handed me the clipboard. Our parents adored Tanya. She got the attention, the financial help, the praise. I got, "You should be more like your sister." So I put myself through community college. I earned a business certificate while working full-time. I climbed slowly at my company, one rung at a time, while Tanya bounced between jobs and relationships, but always landed softly because our parents cushioned every fall. I wasn't the sister people noticed. I wasn't dramatic or loud, but I had something Tanya never built for herself, and it was about to save everything she tried to destroy. If you've ever been the sibling who worked twice as hard and got half the credit, hit that subscribe button right now. I need to know I'm not the only one. Drop your story in the comments. I'm reading every single one. Click hype and let's get into this. Here's what led to that meeting. A few weeks earlier, my manager had nominated me for a team lead promotion. It was the biggest opportunity of my career. HR approved the interview round. My name was on the list. For the first time in 6 years, I felt genuinely seen at work. Not invisible, not just useful, seen. I made the mistake of sharing that news at a family dinner. I was excited. I was proud. I wanted just once to bring something good to the table that my family would celebrate. Tanya's reaction was instant. She set her fork down and tilted her head. "Team lead? You?" She let out a short laugh. "That's cute. Don't they usually pick people with actual degrees for those roles?" My mother laughed softly and changed the subject to the new curtains she'd ordered. Another quiet erasure. I swallowed it like I always did. Within 72 hours, my manager pulled me into his office, the one from the hook. Blinds shut, door locked. The room smelled like stale coffee and printer toner. He explained that a woman who identified herself as my sister had called both the HR hotline and the general office number. She claimed I had a history of mental breakdowns. She said I was emotionally volatile and not safe to put in a leadership position.
He looked at his hands. "She was very specific, Corinne. She referenced dates. She said you'd been hospitalized. She asked us to reconsider your promotion for everyone's safety." None of it was true, not a single word, but the damage was already spreading like ink in water. Then I found out something that made it all click. Tanya had recently applied to my company for a different position. She was rejected. She never told me. The rejection came exactly 1 week before I announced my promotion at dinner. She didn't just want me to fail, she wanted me to fail specifically because I was succeeding where she couldn't, and she was willing to lie to my employer to make it happen. I called my parents that night. My voice was trembling. I told them everything, every detail. My father's response cut deeper than anything Tanya had done. Tanya wouldn't do something like that without a reason. Maybe she's worried about you. Have you been stressed lately? You do seem off sometimes. My mother echoed him like a chorus. You're blowing this out of proportion. Sisters fight. Don't make it into a big thing. No accountability, no outrage on my behalf. Nothing. I hung up the phone and sat on my kitchen floor with my back against the cabinet. The tile was cold under my legs. I could hear the neighbor's TV through the wall, some laugh track playing over and over. I felt completely alone. At work, things shifted. Despite my boss keeping the situation relatively private, word leaked. It always leaks. Coworkers started acting differently around me, careful, overly polite, whispering when I walked past the break room. A colleague I trusted pulled me aside near the copy machine. Someone in HR mentioned a wellness concern was raised about you. Are you okay? She said it with pity, not support. Pity. I felt the promotion slipping through my fingers. My confidence cracked in meetings. I started second-guessing every word before I said it. 6 years I had spent building a reputation in that company. Tanya destroyed it with one phone call. Then came the family gathering, a cousin's birthday party at my aunt's house. I walked in and Tanya was already performing. The moment she saw me, she turned on the tears, right there in front of everyone. I called your job because I'm scared for you, Corinne. You've been acting erratic. I did it out of love, and now you're attacking me for caring? Relatives circled her like she was the wounded one. My aunt put her arm around Tanya's shoulder. Corinne, your sister loves you. You should be grateful someone's looking out for you. I stood in the middle of that living room, surrounded by the smell of birthday cake and perfume, being told I should thank the person who tried to ruin my career. I looked at every face in that room. Not one of them was on my side. So I stopped arguing. I went quiet, but not defeated. I pulled out my phone and started making calls, not to family, to people who actually knew my work. Late nights at my kitchen table, I began compiling something, focused, strategic, precise. They thought my silence meant I had accepted it. They were wrong. My silence meant I was done playing their game and starting my own.
What no one in my family knew, not Tanya, not my parents, not a single relative, was that for 3 years I had been running an anonymous industry blog called The Logistics Loop. What started as a hobby had grown into one of the most respected independent voices in supply chain operations. Over 40,000 subscribers, partnerships with industry publications. I'd been invited to speak at 2 national conferences under a pen name. The sister Tanya called Uneducated was being read by executives across the country, including executives at my own company. The VP of operations at my firm had shared my blog internally. He'd called it the smartest ops content online in a company-wide email. He had no idea his own analyst wrote it. But I had something else too, something sharper. My cousin Deja had forwarded me a screenshot of a text Tanya sent to another relative. It read, "I just need them to think she's crazy long enough to pull that promotion. She doesn't deserve it more than me." I had the evidence. I had the reputation, even if they didn't know it was mine. And I had one person in my corner who was about to change everything. Deja was 5 years older than me and the family's other overlooked member. She was the one who forwarded that text. She'd been quietly collecting evidence of Tanya's manipulations for years, not just against me, against other family members too. She'd seen the pattern. Tanya sabotaged anyone who threatened to outshine her. Deja sat across from me at a diner booth, sliding her phone across the table. "I've been waiting for you to fight back, Corinne. I've got everything saved. Texts, voicemails, the time she'd tried to get my lease broken by calling my landlord. She's done this before." Together, we organized an undeniable evidence folder. Screenshots of Tanya's texts admitting the sabotage, the timestamp of her rejected job application at my company, a recorded voicemail where she bragged to our mother about handling my promotion. Meanwhile, Tanya was riding high. She told relatives I'd finally calmed down and that everything was back to normal. Our parents started planning their anniversary party, and Tanya was organizing it, basking in the spotlight as always. She even joked to a cousin at dinner, "Honestly, that job was too much for Corinne anyway. I did her a favor."
She had no idea that I had already submitted my evidence to HR and requested a formal meeting, not to beg for anything, to clear my name and expose the fraud. Tanya was picking out centerpieces for our parents' party. I was preparing a presentation that would end every lie she'd ever told about me. I requested a formal review meeting with HR, my direct boss, and the VP of Operations. I framed it as a professional integrity matter. I walked in wearing a navy blazer, carrying a clean folder, my hands steady and my voice rehearsed. HR presented their findings first. They pulled up 6 years of my company records and displayed them on the screen. Flawless performance reviews, 0 disciplinary incidents, 3 internal commendations, consistent exceeds expectations ratings across every review cycle, glowing peer feedback from every department I'd supported. The HR director looked at me directly. In 6 years, there has never been a single complaint about your conduct, your stability, or your professionalism. Not one. The room was silent, except for the faint buzz of the projector. I opened my folder. I presented Tanya's text admitting the sabotage. I showed the timeline, proving her rejected application came 1 week before her call to the company. I played the voicemail where she bragged to our mother about handling the promotion. Every piece of evidence was dated, labeled, and undeniable. My boss leaned back in his chair. His jaw was tight. He looked angry, not at me. Then I took a breath and shared one final thing. There's something else you should know. I'm the person behind the logistics loop. I turned my laptop around and showed them the admin dashboard, the analytics, the back end of the blog the VP himself had been sharing across every department. The VP stared at the screen, then at me. That's you? I've been recommending that blog to every department head in this company. I built that with no degree, no connections, and a family that told me I wasn't smart enough, I said. I built it on the same skills I bring to this office every single day. HR confirmed their decision. The false report filed by Tanya constituted third-party harassment. They would be sending a formal cease and desist to her and flagging her name in their applicant system permanently. My boss spoke last. He folded his hands on the table and looked me in the eye. Corinne, I owe you an apology. Your promotion isn't just back on track, it should have happened sooner. I didn't cry. I nodded. I gathered my folder and said, thank you. That's all I ever needed, for someone to look at the actual record instead of listening to the noise. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my new office. There's a nameplate on the door with my name on it. I earned it. I revealed my identity as the creator of the logistics loop publicly, and the response overwhelmed me. Invitations, a book deal inquiry, industry recognition from people I'd admired for years. Tanya received the cease and desist from the company. She was humiliated and furious, but completely powerless. She tried to rally the family against me one more time, but Deja had already shared the evidence with key relatives. The narrative Tanya had built for years finally cracked apart. My parents called me. It was awkward and defensive. No real apology, just, we didn't know it was that serious. I told them I loved them, but I needed distance. I set boundaries for the first time in my life. It felt like exhaling after holding my breath for 33 years. Deja and I are closer than ever now. We check in every week, 2 overlooked women who built their own flock. My sister tried to erase me with a lie, but 6 years of showing up, doing the work, and building something real, that's a record no phone call can delete. If someone in your own family ever tried to sabotage your career, if they lied about you to your boss, your coworkers, or anyone who mattered, I need you to know this. Your work speaks louder than their words. Subscribe and tell me your story in the comments. You deserve to be believed based on your record, not their jealousy. Quick hype to help this story reach others who need it. Your story has power. If you felt a connection to mine, please subscribe and share your journey in the comments. Every hype you give this video helps empower someone else who's being torn down by the people who should be lifting them up. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for reminding me that showing up matters. I'll see you in the next one.